Kathy. Good to see you again. Kathy, first of all, I have some good news for you. After examining your x-rays and the results of our series of tests, I feel confident that what you have can be helped with chiropractic care. So the good news is that you're in the right place at the right time. Now, because what you have can be helped with chiropractic care, there's a couple things I want you to know about chiropractic. First of all, chiropractic is not new, it's not experimental, and it's been helping patients just like you with similar conditions for over 100 years. To put it in other words, if chiropractic wasn't so successful, it probably wouldn't be around today. But in fact, the opposite is true, and we're now the second largest healing profession in the entire world. What I really want you to know, and I'm going to give you this to take home so you can look through it, but in a study done by WebMD on 1 million patients over the last several years, we've had a 95% satisfaction rate with our patients. 95%, Kathy. In the medical world of the healthcare profession, it would be impossible to find a better success rate or treatment record than that. So you can feel confident that you're in the right place for the treatment of your condition. Okay? Alright, so now let's talk about what got you here. Why are you in pain? Why do you feel this way? Well, Kathy, first of all, I want you to know this isn't a result of one thing. I want you to forget that. This is a result of an accumulation of many traumas over a long period of time. And in fact, this problem probably started way before the pain started. A lot of times these problems actually start with the trauma from the birth process. And they continue with the hundreds of slips and falls and accidents that you have as a child and as a teenager. And then if you add to that your adult lifestyle, well, Kathy, it would be impossible to know how many times you twist and turned, or you lift something too heavy, or you sat at a computer too long, or you had a physical trauma. And that's why I say this isn't a result of one thing. You've had years of wear and tear on your spine. And keep in mind, that's without any cure, any treatment, any efforts to offset all of that wear and tear. Okay, so it would be like if we went across the street and you'd never been to the dentist or had never brushed your teeth. You know, what condition would your teeth be in? They'd be pretty bad, huh? Or if you had never balanced or rotated your tires in your car, well, a blowout would be inevitable. You've had years of wear and tear on your spine, and the result is you have an innumerable amount of nerve damage that's going on in your system. Quite frankly, I'm surprised that you're not in more pain than you already are. Alright, so what is the result of all this untreated activity and damage? Well, the result is that your spine has been pushed and pulled out of alignment, and when that happens, it causes compression on the discs, it causes irritation, causes swelling, but most importantly, it causes pressure on these nerves. Okay? The fancy word for that is subluxation. Now, if you look at this chart, we've marked off a couple areas of different things that we see when we see subluxations in different areas in the spine. So in the neck, we see similar things like you have, like headaches and neck pain and arm pain. And then in the low back, we can see some low back pain, pain in the legs, things like that. Does that sound like somebody you know? Okay. Well, what's really interesting, well, I think it's interesting, I hope you find it interesting as well, but the nerves, they come from the brain, and they communicate the brain's message to every single organ, tissue, and cell in the body. So when there's pressure on those nerves, the body loses its ability to communicate properly, and as a result, we get what we call dis-ease in the body. So if you've ever had a garden hose and you put a kink in that garden hose, that's kind of like what's happening here. When you kink the garden hose, that flow of water is stopped, right? And so what happens to your plants? Well, they die, right? It's the same thing with this. When the nerve is pinched, its flow is interrupted. We call that dis-ease in the body. So, Kathy, when we look at a spine, we put a spine in one of 4 stages. Now, just like conditions that you're more familiar with, like cancer, stage 4 would be the worst. It would take longer to heal from. There would be less chance that we could do anything about it. And so we want you to be closer to that other end. When we look at your spine, we put it in stage 2. And I'm going to show you your x-rays right now so you can understand what it is that I'm talking about. At this point, I'd go over their x-rays and point out different parts that are, obviously really detrimental or that I can relate to them and relate back to their issues. And this is where I think I actually do the best job in my talk. But all right, so does everything make sense to you so far? Yes? Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about what you really want to hear about, the solution to your problem. Well, Kathy, I've already told you that this problem didn't start overnight, and just as it didn't start overnight and it took a long time to come, it's not going to be fixed overnight. The solution to your problem is a series of treatments that we call adjustments. Now, just like when you go to the orthodontist, they don't just put braces on and take them off. It's the series of office visits that makes the difference. It's the same thing in chiropractic care. We're going to adjust your spine, and quite frankly, it's going to go back out of alignment. And then we're going to adjust it again, and it's going to go back out. It's like taking 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. And the reason is, your spine has been misaligned for so long that it thinks that's normal. And so we have to literally retrain your spine. Okay? So that is why it's so important that you keep your visits, because it's the number and the frequency of the adjustments that make the difference. Okay? One adjustment, just like going to the gym once, it's not going to get you where you need to be. Okay? Does that make sense so far? Okay. All right. So what we've done is we've broken your care up into 3 stages. The first phase is obvious. It's pain relief. We want to get you out of pain, and we're confident that we can do that rather quickly. So it is necessary that we see you 3 times a week for the next 3 weeks. Now, at that time, you're going to be feeling really good, and you're probably going to say, well, problem solved. But I want you to know right now that that's not the case. At this point, your spine is going to be so fragile that any big twist or turn or anything that you lift that's too heavy could set you back to here or to even worse. And so we've made all this great progress. We don't want to do that. So this second stage is almost more important than the first, and it's a stabilization phase. We're going to stabilize the changes that we made so that your spine doesn't remain in that fragile state. Okay? We're going to do a progress exam at this point to make sure that you're ready for that stabilization phase. And at that point, we're going to cut you down. It's actually going to be easier for you. We're going to see you 2 times a week for the next 3 weeks. Now, again, we're going to do another progress exam to make sure that your spine and your condition is stabilized. And at that point, we're going to move you on to our wellness stage, which is the best stage of care. Why is wellness so important? Because wellness is always easier than overhaul. It's always better to have a wellness model than a sickness model, right? Okay, so do you have any questions about that? Okay, great. Well, wellness is what you want, it's what you need, and it's what we want for you. But in order to get you there, we require 2 things from you. First of all, it's necessary that you do your best to keep your appointments. And just like we talked about before, it's the number and the frequency of the adjustments that makes all the difference. Okay? And secondly, we have a class. It's called How to Stay Young Your First 100 Years. I have some tickets for that class in your folder, and I'm going to give them to you, and I encourage you to bring your spouse or your family with you. This class is so beneficial. It's going to help you get well faster, and it's going to be tips and tricks of things that you can do to stay healthy when you're not here at the office. Okay, we offer that class on Wednesdays at 12:30 and Thursdays at 6:30. And what we do is we'll schedule you right before there so you can stay and take that class. It's really great, and we're very excited about it. So which day works best for you for that? Okay, Thursday at 6:30. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mark that on your card. And then if you don't have any other questions or concerns, we're going to go get started. Are you ready? All right.